And in for Diana Perez, we begin with a monster winter storm battering the Midwest and taking aim on the Northeast. Take a look at the radar. That powerful system of Arctic air is coming out of the Central Plains and grabbing moisture from the Gulf of Mexico as it marches toward the East Coast. The snowstorm is already leaving its mark and will eventually affect 21 states. 2014 has begun with an extreme blast of winter weather. A huge storm has been moving across much of the country, bringing with it freezing temperatures and lots of snow. In Minneapolis, temperatures dropped to around zero. Fire crews struggled to deal with a massive blaze following an explosion at an apartment complex. Water used to fight the flames quickly turned to ice in the extreme temperatures. And in Indiana, slippery, snow-covered roads are making travel difficult for drivers. Nearly a foot of snow has already fallen in Chicago, with more expected today. Residents are doing their best to dig out.
It does the job. It did the steps, it did the porch, now it's doing the car. You know, make do with what you got right now.
The storm is now headed towards the East Coast and New England, where residents have been preparing for this onslaught of winter weather. New Haven, Connecticut shelters are gearing up to help those who spend much of their time on the streets.
Just come here just to get my rest and stay warm.
In Scituate, Massachusetts, repairs have been made to a seawall that was damaged in a storm last February.
The problem is the tides are just huge. They're the highest that they can possibly be.
And stores like this Lowe's in New Jersey are doing a brisk business as people stock up on shovels and salt to deal with the coming storm. How much you need to stock up or whether you need to stock up at all will depend on where you live.
And for that, we turn to AccuWeather's Jim Dickey. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Rena and Mohammed. A storm system coming together here this morning. Really two separate systems. There's an upper low that's tracking its way out of the nation's midsection. Some tropical moisture here, some Gulf of Mexico moisture that's being drawn northward. You see some dry air in between, keeping the two apart. That won't last. They'll come together as we head through the day. Now, through the daylight hours, we'll see snow stretching from New England back on into the Ohio Valley. But the true storm gets underway into the overnight. The worst conditions will be from late Thursday night through early morning on Friday. Blizzard conditions, not out of the question. Boston southward into Long Island with strong gusty winds, near zero visibility, near whiteout conditions. That snow will be heavy in many locations. We are looking for a bullseye of over a foot of snow in around the Boston area. Rena and Mohammed, back to you.
All right. Thanks, Jim. This winter storm is sure to disrupt flights at several major airports.
It could cause a snag for a lot of people heading home after New Year's Day. According to Flight Tracker, there are already over 1,000 flights canceled in the U.S. and another 52 flights are delayed. Those numbers are sure to rise as the storm intensifies along the East Coast.
This morning across the Northeast, snow, ice, rain taking hold. Almost a foot of snow fell fast in some parts. You see how hard it snowed in Philly? Now, this is the Eagles-Lions game. At some point, you could barely even see the field.
I mean, that's good. That's good visibility for this game.
Take a look at the fans also. Boy, it did not seem like a lot of fun right there. Covered in snow and ice literally everywhere. And look at this guy heading to Lambeau Field up in Green Bay. Look at that situation at the airport's also miserable this morning. Take a look at the flight delays right now. More than 1,000 flights canceled, over 1,100 now today. 2,800 were canceled on Sunday.
DFW was a nightmare among one of them, and this is the way it looked much of the weekend. Ice rinks stopping cars, trucks in their tracks, and a new storm is on the way. And you know who's smack dab in the middle of it all? Our Ginger Z there in Hartford, Connecticut. Good morning, Ginger.
Hey, good morning to you, Robin, and good morning, everybody. This is the issue. We've got some freezing drizzle falling. That means when we put this infrared, I've got my handy-dandy infrared thermometer, I put the laser to the ground. It's warmer up there than it is down here. It is sub-freezing, 26.9 degrees, and this is what happens to the roads, to your sidewalks. We've left this out for about an hour, and look at that sheen on there. You can see how the freezing rain makes for a very thin coat of ice and very dangerous conditions on the roads. Let me get you straight to what it has looked like from the southern plains all the way to the northeast. This picture representative of what happens when that ice hits, covers the trees, the power lines. This is in Arkansas. Man, most of our nation has dealt with this big storm and many to come. Look at this. The pink, that is not good stuff. More than 2/3 of the nation having problems with ice this morning. Check it out. Frozen nightmare from Texas through the Northeast.
Wow, the whole thing is shut down.
Check out these sheets of ice flying off that building in Texas. Watch what it does to the car below. Just outside Manhattan, deadly black ice, leaving a wreck of mangled vehicles, sending at least 40 to the hospital. Swerving on the Pennsylvania Turnpike ended in dozens of crashes and that killer pileup outside Austin, Texas.
She said she came around a corner and saw the cars were in an accident in front of her and swerved and I guess hit the embankment and went airborne up onto the hill.
Chilling scenes out of Wisconsin, where cars slid headfirst into the back of semis. In Arizona, hundreds of folks stranded overnight in their vehicles, including this cross-country team.
We took a lot of the blankets that were in our charter bus, and we spent a lot of our time taking care of the people around us.
The streets near Dallas, ice enough for street hockey. And as more than a half foot of snow fell, the gridiron looking more like an ice skating rink as Philly hosted Detroit. A Charlie Brown-like moment as the Lions kicker slips in the snow. And I've got to tell you, there's another storm on the way. That's right, for the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast tomorrow, snow.
Good morning, everybody. Remember a couple of weeks ago when the groundhog said we had 6 more weeks of winter? He was right, but I believe he was insufficiently specific. He failed to mention that the rest of this winter would be relentlessly and unacceptably snowy and horrible.
It has been brutal.
Yes.
Airports across the country virtually at a standstill with so many couples trying to get away for a Valentine's weekend. But, you know, there are some people making the best of it. One romantic couple in Virginia made this snow hard for Valentine's Day. And look at this shot of Snowbank against New York's famous skyline. And, of course, there's Central Park glistening as well. It looks so beautiful in the pictures just when you're out there.
Yeah, hopping over slush to get there is less amusing. On the wild side, this guy is snowboarding down the street.
Wow.
It looks like a don't try that at home.
Try that at home.
We used to call this skitching back in the day. He's attached to the back of a car. I never did it, of course. Despite the fun and the beauty, which I will only grudgingly admit, many of us are ready for this thing to end. In fact, we've started a countdown clock. There it is right there.
Right
32
there.
days until spring.
32 long days, just over a month to go. And now, well, there's a fresh blizzard on the way. It comes as tens of millions of Americans are digging out of this week's nor'easter. And ABC's Lindsay Janis is on the story from Central Park in a balmy New York City. It's what, 40 degrees out?
40 degrees, Bianna. No snow yet, but we're told it is on the way, and that's why the race is on to clear the existing ice and snow. Between battering winter storms. This morning, nearly a third of the nation is cleaning up.
I hope you don't get no more.
And clearing out. Heavy snow causing roofs to cave in, leaving some homeless. The average home can withstand about 2 feet of snow before the roof becomes susceptible to collapse. Parts of the Northeast have gotten much more than that this week. As far south as North Carolina, police calling in tow trucks to save stranded motorists. This 7-year-old boy got lost in Tennessee and survived the night in freezing temperatures by cuddling his dog Coco for 14 hours.
I didn't keep warm, the dog kept warm.
Look at this truck. The large hole right in front of the driver's windshield was because of falling ice. And this may look like an explorer atop a mountain, but really it's workers clearing gigantic chunks of ice and snow from a Vermont airport runway. And this man taking advantage of the sloppy conditions in New York City, snowboarding down the streets. Much of the country was hit hard. The roads outside Philadelphia so slick, causing this 5-mile-long pileup. More than 100 cars, dozens injured.
Around that corner right there, and all of a sudden the sun is blinding, and I missed the car in front of me by that much.
And those drivers in Pennsylvania told us they were fooled by the sun and also by what looked like a clear road. In fact, it was a sheet of ice. A good reminder to stay cautious no matter how tired and frustrated we are all growing with this winter. Dan, 32 days. 32 days. I love that countdown clock.
That's right. Yes, we're going to put it up for the rest of the show. As we said, there are blizzard warnings up right now for parts of the Northeast. For more on this new storm, let's get it over to Bill Kelly, the bearer of bad news. He's the chief meteorologist for WSYX in Columbus, and we're very glad to have you with us this weekend.
Yeah, you know, isn't hope a wonderful thing? Talk about those the spring starting soon. That's good, but not today, guys. We have winter weather advisories posted all the way from North Carolina up into New England. And you mentioned that blizzard warning. Here it is. It's for eastern sections of Massachusetts there, where it's going to be blowing. The snow is going to be blinding. Here's the current radar. You folks in Washington, D.C., you're probably going to stay rain. Philly, a little snow. We're expecting a little bit of snow is in the New York area over the next couple of hours. But where it is going to affect the most of you is up here into New England. I mean, this storm is going to pack a punch. Let me run the timing by for you. Here's the morning time frame. We get into the afternoon. It pulls off into the ocean. And look at this. Look at all the snow that is going to be around in these areas. We're talking in some spots 6 to 12 inches of snow.
Winds are accompanying a volatile storm system working its way east from Iowa down into Louisiana. One that forecasters warn will likely produce dangerous tornadoes before this night is over. In fact, we want to show you a live picture right now out of Stromsburg, Nebraska. We're told what appears to be a tornado forming right now. Storm trackers capturing this image on what is virtually an empty road. You can't quite make it out. We saw it a bit earlier, what appeared to be the beginning of a funnel. We'll continue to track that. Meantime, take a look at the radar. It says it all. A nearly unbroken line of storms bisecting the nation. The experts say the atmosphere is ripe to produce some very severe storms. Right now, parts of a half-dozen states are under tornado watches. Wind gusts.
In many states, storms pounded the plains, and the threat is actually increasing. As we go into the evening hours, there is a significant risk of tornadoes at a most vulnerable time, the overnight hours.
A tractor trailer blown on its side along Interstate 70 in western Missouri as a powerful storm blew in near Odessa, uprooting trees, ripping roofs from buildings and siding from homes, and tearing the sign from this gas station. As severe storms wreaked havoc on the nation's midsection. A hailstorm in Little Rock. Gusty winds knocking around a firmly anchored traffic camera in Columbia, Missouri. A severe thunderstorm moved through Baldwin City, Kansas, the wind leaving this flag in tatters. And on Marathon Day in Oklahoma City, the race was delayed more than an hour and a half as runners took shelter. One tweeting, "Thankfully we found a dry place to wait out the storm."
And there was flash flooding in Iowa City, Iowa.
With ominous skies and forecasts indicating tornadoes were likely, an entire region on edge. At NOAA's Storm Predictions.
Well, currently we have 11 reported fatalities across the state. We are dealing with a massive debris cleanup situation across the state as well. We have homes completely destroyed or heavily damaged. We have power lines that are down in the area. We have people that are still in shelters in certain parts of the state. Trees down across roads that are closed across the state as well. So actually, we are working with of course, the local officials there, as well as here in the state. We're working with our state agencies as well as our federal partners to manage all of the resource requests. The local authorities ask for different things. They need people to come in for search and rescue. They need people to come in to actually for debris removal and that sort of thing. So as we have people coming in to moving in to assist, we actually bring in resources to augment what they have already in the area.
Sector, rather typically the most prone to tornadoes spinning up. Also, for the first time this season, the Storm Prediction Center has put an area under a high risk, including parts of Arkansas. We're under a tornado watch. This is a PDS tornado watch, meaning a particularly dangerous situation. That is until 11 o'clock tonight. And unfortunately, as the sun goes down, the tornadoes become even more dangerous because people go to bed and they miss the warnings and you can't see them coming. And over the past hour now, 2 tornado warnings, the first 2 of the day, have been issued for Arkansas, north and west of here in Little Rock. Lester?
Mike Seidel, thanks. Weather Channel meteorologist Jim Cantori is inside the NOAA Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma. What do the next 24 hours look like, Jim?
Yeah, Lester, the worst of these storms coming in now as the sun is going down, and unfortunately, they are going to be tornado producers throughout the night tonight. A large area, as you can see, that will still be dealing with these severe thunderstorms, large hail, gusty winds, damaging winds, in fact, and even tornadoes all the way down into the states of Mississippi and into Middle Tennessee. So a huge concern, in addition to the flood risk. A lot of these storms have been sitting over places like Memphis all day long. We move into Monday. Cities like Birmingham, Huntsville, Jackson, and also Meridian, Mississippi are facing a similar tornado threat. So a 2-day threat for some of these areas. And the storm that's actually helping to aid these thunderstorms is really not going to move all that much. So look at what happens by Tuesday. Some of the same areas once again under the gun for tornadoes. So it's not only just Birmingham, Jackson, Mississippi, but also Atlanta, Charlotte, and Tallahassee. So what has started out as a very slow year in terms of severe thunderstorms and tornadoes specifically has really ramped up. We'll be under the gun until at least Wednesday.
And we'll be watching. Jim Cantore, thanks.
Everybody, we begin this half hour with at least a dozen people killed in that dangerous storm system moving across the middle of the nation.
17 states are on high alert for at least the next couple of days. The system is driving damaging winds, heavy rains, and even tornadoes, touching down with deadly consequences.
Around 5:30 p.m., the first reports that a tornado touched down in Quapaw, a small community in northeastern Oklahoma. The destruction widespread.
There is so much debris, it's hard to even tell what was what. This was a strong tornado.
The extent of the damage is an indication of just how powerful this tornado was. Residential and commercial buildings utterly destroyed, reduced to splinters, roofs lifted from structures still standing. Stunned residents walking through the debris, trying to make sense of it all. Another tornado on the ground in Upland, Nebraska. More funnel clouds reported in Iowa, Kansas, and Missouri. They're all part of a massive storm system that extends throughout Tornado Alley, from the Central Plains down to Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. Heavy rain near Odessa, Missouri brought visibility down near zero, making driving virtually impossible. Strong winds along I-70 knocked a semi over on its side and damaged several homes. Golf ball-sized hail pummeled Drasco, Arkansas, and parts of Oklahoma. Cleanup was just getting started in North Carolina in the wake of an EF3 tornado this weekend. An 11-month-old baby was killed, more than 200 homes destroyed.
It broke my heart because I lost everything. Thank the Lord for not having me here because I probably wouldn't be standing here right now.
And now they're hoping for the best and bracing for another round of violent storms.
Just so much devastation. 11 deaths in Arkansas confirmed, 1 in Oklahoma confirmed, 25 injuries in Kansas confirmed.
That's right. 1 death in Kansas, although that hasn't been linked to the tornadoes just yet. And I mean, the information is sprinkling in, so we may have more. There's a lot of destruction out there, and there's no telling when these tornadoes are going to end, because now they're just moving east.
We will be watching them.
Absolutely.
Well, the threat of severe weather far from over as these dangerous fronts move east.
Our coverage continues at AccuWeather with the latest from meteorologist Jim Dickey. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, John and Diana. We're entering the heart of severe weather season, and as such, we're going to see some dangerous thunderstorms once again here today after an active weekend. The area of low pressure responsible for all of that, more or less, will slowly crawl its way eastward, sparking off rounds of thunderstorms here, and the threat slowly shifting its way eastward. Also, some soaking rainfall from the northeast, back in the upper Midwest and northern plains. In the upper Midwest, we could see some snow mixing in spots as well. But as far as the thunderstorms are concerned, again, the threat shifts a bit further eastward here today. Through these early morning hours, still some storms. Missouri, Arkansas, back on across Louisiana, shifting eastward through the day. Watch out in the Tennessee Valley. The threat for tornadoes once again, along with damaging winds and large hail. John, Diana, back to you.
It is now 4 straight days of violent weather in the South and the Midwest. In all, 65 tornadoes followed today by torrential rain and flooding. This is the Florida Panhandle after the biggest rainfall there in decades. Hundreds of people had to be rescued from cars and houses. In Pensacola, where the rain set a record, part of the scenic highway was washed away. The flooding is blamed for at least 1 death in all since Sunday. The storm death toll is at least 38, and thousands of homes have been damaged. Mark Strassman is in Pensacola.
More than 20 inches of rain fell in Pensacola in 24 hours. Flash flooding washed away roads and bridges. This sinkhole was 20 feet deep. The driver survived.
You could see the current. Lightning was still popping all over the place, and you just kept watching the water rise.
Kristen Fairchild lives in Pensacola's Cordova Park neighborhood. Piedmont Road is washed away and broken in pieces for 6 blocks. Early this morning, she used her smartphone to take this video. These geysers are actually natural gas escaping from lines broken by the rushing waters.
I've done whitewater rapids, and that's what it looked like. It literally looked like whitewater rapids were coming through the neighborhood.
So Piedmont Road became Piedmont Rapids, became Piedmont River.
Yes, exactly.
6 inches of rain fell overnight in Pensacola in 1 hour. More rain than Los Angeles saw all of last year. Residents hunkered down in their homes. Many motorists were stranded in their cars, some on the interstate. Florida's governor declared a state of emergency in 26 counties, and more than 300 911 callers requested evacuations. Here in Pensacola's Cordova Park neighborhood, Scott, there is no power and there is no running water, unless you mean the water that's running down the middle of Piedmont Road.
And more severe storms predicted from South Carolina to the District of Columbia. Mark, thanks very much.
Well, yesterday we didn't have any fatalities in the city. There was one death, we believe, in the county. However, people are displaced from their homes right now, so they're going to be displaced for weeks and months. So we're managing that situation right now. We haven't had to rescue anybody over the night. The water did recede, which we were very fortunate, but we're just being proactive and obviously taking care of our people, and public safety is at the forefront.
Absolutely, and from what I can see from where you are, it looks like the rain has stopped for the moment. Are you expecting further rain today?
No, we're not. The weather dropped about 20 degrees, which was interesting. So we had a little cold front that came through here, and we're expecting skies to be clear.
So that's a good thing that's helping out search and rescue efforts and recovery efforts this morning. What are the biggest challenges that you are going to be up against as First Light comes up?
Obviously, as organization and public safety, but most importantly from an infrastructure standpoint, we've had some major damages within the city of Pensacola, and they're contained, which is a good thing for us, Kate, so we can manage people getting to from work. However, we're going to have our team together, the engineering department, obviously, getting your roads temporarily repaired so we can go forward.
I mean, you've talked about that one road being completely blown out, and we've seen some video of a lot of flooding, but put it in some additional perspective for our viewers who maybe haven't been to Pensacola, who don't understand what kind of flooding you are up against. Have you ever seen anything like it?
I've never seen anything like it. Obviously, I lived in New York City for a long time, and we would have flooding, obviously in the south end of Manhattan, but I can tell you, imagine walking out of your front door and then just walking right into a river about 4.5 feet deep and water running right through your front yard. So it was, like I said, kind of surreal and an anomaly for Pensacola to have this kind of flooding.
And what's your best advice for residents this morning? They probably are waking up not knowing what they're about to face when they walk out their front door. What are you telling them?
Well, I can tell you it is dry. Obviously, the temperature did drop. The schools are canceled today. However, parents are going to have to go to work. So just use caution. Be smart. People know our city. It's 37 geographical miles. And just manage your way around the city and be careful. And be cognitive of, obviously, the law enforcement and public safety.
Absolutely. Have you got any cost estimate on how much this damage is going to cost the city quite yet?
You know, just a guesstimate right now, but I can tell you it's over the $100 million mark.
Ouch. That's a painful price tag to be looking at in just over 24 hours, Mr. Mayor.
Well, we know how infrastructure is, and a lot of infrastructure is under the ground, so you don't see it above ground. So there's a lot of money that goes into that. So we're going to, put a pen to the paper and get focused and get after it.
Yeah, the cost right now obviously is not the priority. It's making sure everyone's safe and making sure the roads are passable and that everything's back up and running. Mayor Ashton Hayward, thank you very much, Mayor, for coming on. Good luck today.
Thank you, Kate.
Of course.
Honestly, I feel so bad, at the same time I'm just like, oh my God.
My car's about to fall right over. Finally happened, huh? Yeah.
It is? Are you taking a video?
Yeah.
It keeps cracking.
3 years.
Like and it's still cracking. He's been trying for 3 years to get it done right.
Well,
let me tell you something. I believe you. It took me 30 minutes on the phone to get
3 years. I've been working on this.
Oh, we both of them. And I told you, I tried to
3 years.
I had to call that woman. He's right here. He's not. He's the one who told me. Look at this. And I mean, how many times on the phone did you get somebody on? Oh, no, my car is like this.
Like we got hundreds of pictures of this. They've been out here 10 times, and all they do is just put a little dirt in there and try to fill it in. I said, man, it's going to happen.
No, I wasn't.
Oh my god, it's going down. It's moving. Oh my god.
Let's get back to the storm watch cleanup going on along the East Coast.
So crews started removing cars and debris from that Baltimore street that collapsed today. And now there's home video showing the street collapse.
Oh my god.
Listen, can you just imagine?
Unbelievable.
Oh my goodness. Between street collapses like this and water rescues we've been watching, it's been a really busy couple of days for emergency crews. Greta Cruz joins us now with more on that. Greta.
Well, you just saw it, some amazing home video there. Perhaps even more amazing, nobody was hurt when that stretch of East 26th Street collapsed in Baltimore. But this huge storm system has caused major headaches from Florida to New York.
Take a look at what the storm did in Baltimore. It caused a road to collapse, sending cars tumbling into a ravine.
The sidewalk's gone, the cars are gone, and everything just fell. It was like somebody came by and just ripped off the side of the road.
In New York, more than 5 inches of rain caused mudslides, one on Long Island, burying cars, another in Yonkers, burying Metro North train tracks with concrete, rock, and dirt. Nobody was hurt, but some say the massive flooding has done more damage than even Superstorm Sandy.
It's too much money for everybody, not just me, everybody. Neighbors down the block lost everything.
This is what morning commuters in New Jersey faced: flooded streets and road closings. A scene played out over and over as the massive storm system pushed north from Florida.
An insane amount of rain, like it's crazy, way more than I've ever seen in my entire life.
The flood damage so far, the worst in Florida, where Pensacola is still pumping out more than 2 feet of water. Getting back to normal here will take some time, but perhaps an even bigger challenge elsewhere. The National Weather Service now says it was an EF4 tornado that tore through Vilonia and Mayflower, Arkansas on Sunday. Among those killed, 7- and 8-year-old brothers.
All told, 38 people have died in this massive storm system that thankfully is finally headed out to sea. Back to you.
Backyards burning out west, and families are fighting the flames bearing down on their homes.
I felt like hell. This is my life.
And now we head out into the heartland, Oklahoma, where wildfire is raging, moving at lightning speed, fueled by wicked winds, dry heat. Homeowners and firefighters are desperately trying to beat back the flames, and ABC's Ryan Owens is now where the fire is moving in.
In searing 98-degree heat, Black Hawk helicopters drop water on stubborn hotspots near the town of Guthrie, north of Oklahoma City. 30 buildings, including at least 6 homes, have been lost here, even though many homeowners battled the flames with whatever they could.
I felt like hell. This is my life. I mean, look at it. Can you tell me what was in my homes?
The fire claimed the life of a 56-year-old man who was warned to leave his home but refused. This fire kicked up Sunday afternoon, a controlled burn on someone's property that quickly got out of control.
It's very scary. You just gotta, leave it in God's hands, and if it burns, it burns.
Firefighters have worked many miracles here. Ask Scott Ward.
It was 15 feet away, and I thought for sure it was going to be gone.
See that home peeking through the burned out trees? That's his dream home. Weeks from completion, especially designed for one of his 8-year-old twin boys who's in a wheelchair.
The firefighter's saying everything's still there. I couldn't believe it.
Parts of Oklahoma are more parched than they were during the Dust Bowl. From here, the historic drought stretches south into Texas and west to California. It's shaping up to be a brutal wildfire season. California has already seen twice the number of fires it does in an average year, and nationwide, wildfires have consumed more than twice as many acres this year compared to last. Tonight, this fire is 75% contained. The fire chief has allowed people to come home, although as you see behind me, some people don't have much to come home to. Tomorrow, another difficult day on the fire lines expected. More intense heat
and more of these gusty winds. Diane?
And we hear the siren behind you now. Thank you. Going to extremes tonight. Big news about severe weather hitting every corner of America.
With Diane Sawyer.
And a good evening to you on this Tuesday night. We begin at the White House today with some big news. The president and 300 experts giving their answer to a question a lot of us have been asking. Is this extreme weather all around us global warming or not? The president's answer is yes, and it's underway right here, right now. ABC's meteorologist Ginger Zee at the White House, where she spoke with President Obama today.
The message in this new report: it is already happening. Extremes of today will become even more extreme. In the Northeast, torrential rains and devastating floods like those from Hurricane Sandy.
Huge waves crashing up and over. Did you see that one?
In the Southeast, coastal flooding.
The storm surge has been pushing up and over, flooding this highway.
In the Farm Belt, longer growing seasons. And in the Southwest, it means more heat waves and exceptional drought, bringing those wildfires. All of it, according to the National Climate Assessment Report, is from the impact of a warming planet.
The new report, the climate situation that we're in, seems pretty dire. What do you think you can get done in the next 2 years?
The good news is that we've already taken some big actions, whether it's increasing fuel efficiency standards on cars, increasing efficiency on appliances. But we're going to have to do more. We also have a chance to turn back these rising temperatures if we take some bold actions now.
All part of the aggressive plan laid out by the White House. Reduce emissions from coal plants, help communities brace for extreme weather that will only grow worse, and to lead other nations like China, which has surpassed America in damaging CO2 emissions. But while the U.S. makes up just 5% of the world's population, we still consume 24% of the world's energy. While there were more than 300 scientists and authors behind this new report, and even 2 oil companies, there are definitely those who don't agree.
Mother Nature won't stop throwing punches. That's what she does. And I think the changes that are attempting to lessen those punches will have much less of an impact than teaching us sort of how to avoid getting hit square by those punches in the first place.
I spent the whole day here at the White House, and the president and his staff tell me they're most excited about this because they think it's going to help people plan and respond to disasters. And then something interesting happened, Diane. The president actually asked me a question. He wanted to know which storm was the worst that I had ever covered. My answer: Hurricane Sandy and Katrina.
All right, thank you so much, Ginger Zee. Weather on the move. And after all that snow, now unprecedented heat, shattering records with triple digits. Good evening to you on this Wednesday night as we are watching a wild shift in the nation's weather underway right now. People who were freezing a few weeks ago now sweltering, an unprecedented heat wave, parts of the country in triple digits, record shattering. ABC's Clayton Sandell reports on what he's seeing firsthand tonight.
Tonight, spring is turning severe, sizzling across the South with temperatures as much as 20 degrees above normal. Concordia, Kansas hit 96 degrees, breaking a record set 127 years ago. Snow was falling in Wichita, Kansas as late as April 14th. But just 20 days later, the city recorded its earliest 100-degree day ever. Wichita Falls, Texas is so desperate for water, they've hired a plane for cloud seeding, pumping chemicals into the clouds to help it rain.
Wow. Where you see this dirt? Yes. That would all be water.
The heat wave follows powerful tornadoes that recently pummeled southern states. The destructive chaos captured in new video from Tupelo, Mississippi, thrashing this preschool playground. What's your name, sir? Today, the president toured damage in Valonia, Arkansas.
We're going to support you every step of the way.
As for those heat waves, they are exactly what climate scientists have long predicted and what the president warned about this week. Add severe drought, and that's a recipe for a supercharged threat from wildfires. As the climate continues to get hotter, one prediction says that by mid-century, people who live in regions like this, the southern Rockies, could see wildfire activity double. Oklahoma has been burning for days, and tonight, fire weather warnings are out across 7 states.
We're looking at an upcoming very hot and dry summer
and it's going to put our resources to test.
8 military firefighting planes, including these from the North Carolina and Wyoming Air National Guard, are now ready to back up a shrinking civilian tanker fleet.
Ready, start.
The C-130s spit out 3,000 gallons in just 5 seconds.
It does give them the capability to slow down the advance of the fire and actually get it under control.
Tonight, severe thunderstorm watches are posted for parts of 6 states. Storms packing lightning that could spark even more fires.
Clayton Sandell, ABC News in the Black Forest, Colorado.
Millions of people told to watch out tonight. A big storm with floods forcing the rescue of a small child. 11 planes hit by lightning in one day. And we'll tell you what happened next. This Thursday night, and as we come on the air, 50 million Americans are being told to brace for dangerous weather. In places, it's like a superstorm. Extremes of all kinds coming together. Postcards now from the storm zone. You can see in Nebraska a surprise in spring, 9 inches of snow. And watch this time-lapse video in Oklahoma. The dot is a house with a menacing supercell forming right there in the sky overhead. But now, as we said, the tornadoes are the big fear, and ABC's Alex Perez is tracking it all. Alex.
Diane, tonight the sound is loud and clear. You can hear that tornado siren here in Mankato, Minnesota. There are sirens like this all across the state, and people will be listening closely as they prepare for another night of severe weather.
High winds tearing up homes, sirens sounding the alarm in Dallas tonight. Near that city today, a dramatic rescue. It took 2 hours to save 5 boys from these raging waters. The boys are exhausted, but okay.
Let's go, let's go!
At least 7 tornadoes reported yesterday, including this ominous dust-filled landspout churning across the high plains of Colorado.
It's heading straight for that barn.
Along with the tornadoes, up to baseball-sized hail battering the Oklahoma landscape. In Kansas, pummeling homes. Winds near 90 miles an hour, derailing this train just north of Wichita.
I was shocked that it was strong enough to blow the train.
So we're making our way from Minneapolis to Mankato, Minnesota right now, and this storm bringing with it a heavy downpour. Want to show you what the roads look like. The visibility's so bad, we might have to pull over.
In the last 24 hours, nearly 200 reports of severe weather and counting. At Salt Lake City's airport, 11 planes inspected after being struck by lightning, many of them as the planes were landing, terrifying passengers. It's rare for so many planes to be struck at the same time, but experts say every single commercial plane in the U.S. is hit by lightning at least once a year, and planes are protected. When lightning strikes a plane, the outer aluminum skin absorbs the charge. It gets conducted harmlessly around and out of the plane. And then there's the snow. It looks like a winter wonderland in South Dakota, dusting trees and firewood stacks.
And this wild weather is nowhere near being done just yet. Tomorrow, this system shifts east, bringing an elevated threat of severe weather from Little Rock all the way to Indianapolis. Tonight, across parts of Minnesota, they are keeping their eyes on the skies. They are expecting large hail and heavy winds through the night. Diane?
And we'll be watching it with you. Thank you, Al.